butterfly effect. We're going to give it the butterfly effect. And that goes from the caterpillar to the butterfly. And you have to transform. You have to realize that you are the butterfly. Just because you're struggling through life doesn't mean that you don't have wings that you can spread. So today, again, we're going to talk about how success is in your DNA. So let's get started. So let's define what this means to you. Does it mean your blood type? Does it mean who you are innately? It means all of that. It means what God gave you to be dynamic. What God gave you to define your limits, and what God gave you to download your success. So today I am going to help you download your success. So we're going to go to our cocoon and get ourselves together here. And sometimes you just have to take a step back and realize that things don't always work out exactly how you meant for them to work out. So sometimes even me as the butterfly, I have things that I have to work out on my end. So you have to be patient with yourself, because although success is in your DNA, it doesn't mean that you won't have challenges. So let's get into it. So are you authentically successful? Who are you? Are you a mom or dad or daughter or son? If I asked you today, would you just say, well, I'm an employee of this company? Or are you that unprofitable business owner who's trying to figure out how to stand out when everyone's telling you to fit in? What is your message? Your message may be that I'm a dynamic mom, I'm a dynamic dad, or I'm an exceptional employee, or I'm a profitable business owner. I see a lot of people who say, I am an entrepreneur, but they can't seem to put the puzzle pieces together to see where they are on this page. Why do you want success? Do you only want it to impress others? And how are you today? Are you just okay? Or are you great? I'm what makes you, or do you just do what makes others comfortable? Or you, where I've been, overwhelmed. So you get all of this information and you're trying to figure it out and you're trying to make sense of it. So then you just give up because nothing helps you tell yourself where you fit on this page. Well, let's do this. Let's identify your success type. So there is 3 types of success. You can download, number 1, authentically. You can define, number 1, authentically, or you can be dynamically, number 1, authentically. I like to be dynamic, but before I was dynamic, I had to download, because what I was doing was allowing others to tell me to shh, be quiet. What I was doing was only showing people part of my face and letting others direct and tell me what parts of me was okay to show. Until I became BU Butterfly, no one, absolutely no one, knew who I really was. So then I had to determine, what is number 1 authentically? And just because they make it in your size or it is your favorite color doesn't mean it fits you. So I remember realizing that, yes, I'm a size 24, a beautiful size 24, but I was determined to get to a size 4. Now, if you know sizes, or if you don't know sizes, you know numbers, and 24 and 4 Although you can put 4 into a 24, you can't put 24 into a 4. You'll get a negative number. So thus you'll get a negative response. Right. So everybody say, I'm going to not get a negative response. I'm going to put myself where I fit. Right. And I'm going to determine. That's the word right now, determine. Put that in the chat. Determine number one authentically, because success is in your DNA. So then I began to show my face. I began to look people in the eye. I began to have laser focus on how I wanted people to see me. So I began to download the freedom to be authentic. And in downloading that, I took time out for myself, because success is in your DNA. And you have to download the things you need to be authentic. The things I needed was to accept my God-given talents, to accept that I was a beautiful chocolate brown woman, to accept that I was a lovely size 24, right? So in downloading, so put downloading in the chat if you're getting this, you have to take that time to say, woosah. What is it that I have that nobody else has? Because everybody else, understand, everybody else is taken. Everybody else has done them. Beyonce is Beyonce. Oprah Winfrey is Oprah Winfrey. Tyler Perry is Tyler Perry. But who are you? I'm Andrea the Chocolate Butterfly. So let's find out who you are. So, and knowing after you have defined success and you know your success type, and you know what you need to download, let's think about the things you need to download. So you have these ideas, you have these visions, you have these goals, you know you can perform, you are creative, you're strategic, you work good in a team, and you build good teams. So how do we put all of this together to create our brand? Yes, you have to accept who you are. You today have to say, look, I can do this. I can dominate this industry. Because what I find out is everybody's trying to mimic what they see someone else doing. But if you look at Burger King and you look at McDonald's, they both sell hamburgers, right? They both sell hamburgers. But Burger King puts theirs on the grill and McDonald's fries theirs. Now you both get a product that is called a hamburger, but the way the product is presented, the way the product is branded is differently. It stands out. If you see a Burger King logo or you see a McDonald's logo, you know what they are. Do we know what you are? Do we know what your company does from, or do you just take whatever anybody is giving you? I need you to define your number one authentically. I need you to determine the time that you need. I need you to determine the tasks that you can handle, the food that you're going to intake. Yes, the food, it matters. Everything matters. You may need that cup of coffee before you get started through the day. I know people who, they say, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me before I get my cup of coffee, because you don't want to talk to me before I get my cup of coffee. That's what you want to make sure that you know about yourself. So I have a free gift for you. I have a free Create Your Vision gift so that you can show up authentically. So if you text DNA to receive this free gift to 704-228-7228, and if someone could put that in the chat, text DNA to receive your free gift at 704-228-7228. And we're going to send you your first step into showing up authentically, because success is in your DNA. So join us on Facebook and join us on our website, because we will provide you with customized worksheets to download your vision in life, business, and love. I know you've been told that you need to change to fit in, to conform to others, but I'm telling you, for you to be a successful brandpreneur, that's what it is, a successful brandpreneur. You need to stand out. Now, I keep saying success is in your DNA. Success is in your DNA. I need you to know where that came from. I would love to take the credit for branding. Success is in your DNA, but that is not my claim to fame. I saw this. I was doing my downloads and I was researching. And what I found out is there are wonderful people who have used this term before I. So I want to share with you how they did it. I want to share with you how it just inspired me, and that's why I chose to use this as my subject today, because it just inspired me so much to talk about how success is in your DNA. So we're going to listen today to Mr. Freddie Fry, because the way he puts it, I can't even touch it. But I want you to understand that success is in your DNA. It's up to you to download. It's up to you to define. And it's up to you to be dynamic as number one, authentically. So let's listen to what Mr. Freddie Fry had to say.
Back up, you fall. You get 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 back up, you fall. Just keep repeating till your arms are raising victory. You truly earned it. You always had the key. Thank God you finally turned it. Unlock the doors of greatness. Get it out that storage. The world is yours. You just have to get up and explore it. Life will test your mental, but you were made to pass it. Your mental battle scars are proof. You overcame measures that were drastic. Hold on. I feel like somebody out there is not locked in. I feel like somebody is not locked in, and that's exactly why you're in the dark. And you know what I need you to do when you're in the dark, right? Turn the lights on when I'm talking to you, because I said you fall down, you get back up. You fall down, you get back up, and you keep repeating, and you keep repeating, and you keep repeating until your arms are raised in victory. You truly have earned it. You always had the key. Thank God you finally turned it. Unlock the doors of greatness. Get it out that storage. The world is yours. You just have to get up and explore it. Life will test your mental, but you were made to pass it. Your mental battle scars are proof. You overcame measures that were drastic. See, everything you need to win is in your DNA. The strength to get back up again and again and again is in your DNA. The will to fight to the end is in your DNA. The mental toughness to have thick skin is in your DNA. The intuition to know when to smile, the intuition to know when to grin is in your DNA. The intelligence to live with more integrity and less sin is in your DNA. Let me say that one again. The intelligence for you to live with more integrity and far less sin is in your DNA. The resiliency to keep digging, to keep digging, to keep digging and grinding until you find that greatness that you have buried deep within is in your DNA. If I said it before, I've said it 1,000 times. You got this. You were born to be spectacular. It's in your DNA.
So again, it's in your DNA. It's up to you to decide how you show up to the world. It's up to you to decide how you want to be perceived in this world. So we ask that you share with us how you're showing up authentically. And we want to invite you to be a part of our Zoom community. I'm sorry, our Facebook community. I want you to understand that you too can be you butterfly. So before I was be you butterfly, I was just Andrea. I was just okay. I was showing up, fitting in to what other people said I should do. I was showing up unauthentic. I was not dynamic. I was not defined. I was not determined. Today, I show up as Andrea the Chocolate Butterfly because I did an introspective look inside myself. So join with us on Facebook because I want you to define number one authentically. Be a trendsetter, not just another brand on the shelf. Be You Butterfly, we provide individual success plans. What we do is we take you and look at your brand and look what you're trying to accomplish so that we can come up with a plan with you, helping you to identify and define what that means to you. See, I can say being authentic and successful means I have all of this stuff around me. Or it could be just having a peace of mind. You might just need to define authentically in your life so that when people see you, they say, that's Andrea the Chocolate Butterfly. Who are they saying you are? Are you just another brand on the shelf? Or are you that trend center? Are you being you butterfly? Dominating number one authentically is where we want to go. Your level of investment in your brand equals your brand placement at number one. So I'm offering a 15-minute vision call. It's totally free. If you go to www.bubutterfly.com/DNA, that's DNA, dominating number one authentically, you will have the opportunity to sign up with me for a 15-minute vision call where we can start getting you ready to show up authentically. We get you ready to dominate number one authentically because success is in your DNA. Right. I know you got it now. So I am imploring you, first of all, sign up. Sign up for our BU Butterfly Effect Facebook group. We share each other's events that are coming up. We give resources. We help each other. That's where I it's free. It's no, we're not trying to, sell you anything there. All that is a place for people who want to show up authentically, who want to be you butterfly, where we all can congregate together. And then if you want that free gift, again, text 704-228-7228. And then if you want to go further with us, set up that vision call. It's 15 minutes of your time. We waste 15 minutes. I wasted 15 minutes getting ready for this, to get my stuff ready, just so I can present to you today. So you can spare 15 minutes, because I always say, take 1 hour out for your vision, not for your employer. I call it my silent partner, not my employer, not your family, but 1 hour just for you. Just for you. So register now at www.bubutterfly.com/DNA. And with that, I say, remember, success is in your DNA. This has been Andrea the Chocolate Butterfly Williams, and I show up authentically.
Have you ever been sick and tired? I mean, truly, truly sick and tired. And I don't mean tired as in having worked hard all day. Nor do I mean tired of hearing your voice, hearing your boss's voice. I mean tired of being treated like a second-class citizen. Tired of seeing your family and your friends continually disrespected. On December 1st, 1955, I did get sick and tired. And as a result, I made a mark in the history books. My name is Rosa Louise McCauley. Now, I know you probably see me as Rosa Parks, but before there was a Rosa Parks, there was a Rosa McCauley. Have you ever been afraid? What were you afraid of? Has fear ever stopped you from doing anything in the past? If it has, write down what fear stopped you from doing. Are there areas right now where fear is impacting you? If so, write it down in order to have the success you need. You're going to need to free your mind. You're going to need to come up with a plan. You're going to need to work up with a team. And you're not going to have to ever give up. I was born in Tuskegee, Alabama on February 4th, 1913 to James and Leona McCauley. My mother was a school teacher and my father a carpenter. Now he had to travel all over Alabama looking for work. Unfortunately, he had a wandering eye. One day he left and never came back, leaving my mother with two small children to raise, my younger brother Sylvester and me. We then moved to Pine Level, Alabama to live with my grandparents so they could help my mother. Now, Pine Level already had a school teacher, so she couldn't get a job there. So she went to Spring Hill, another town. She would live in Spring Hill during the week and then come home on the weekends. My brother and I were essentially raised by my grandparents, whom we were each named after, Rosa and Sylvester Edwards. Now, my grandparents had been slaves, and it was my grandfather who taught us never to let anyone push us around. My grandfather could pass for white. He was the product of his slave mother and the white slave master's son. As a child, he was despised and often beaten. And as a result, he was belligerent towards white folks. And he would boldly do things in public that embarrassed him. He would laugh behind their backs. They didn't know he was a colored man. They thought he was white, and that's why his actions embarrassed them so much. Now, he wasn't afraid to carry a shotgun, and neither was he afraid to use it. One day, he stood right on the porch with that shotgun as the Ku Klux Klan marched past our house. The Ku Klux Klan, or KKK, or Klansmen as they were called, is an American white supremacist terrorist hate group formed in 1865. They extended into almost every southern state. And by 1870, they had become a vehicle for Southern white resistance to the policies aimed at establishing political and economic equality for Black Americans. Its members waged an underground campaign of intimidation, fear, violence directed at white and Blacks, causing fear and trepidation to those looking to change the way Blacks were being treated. My grandfather, however, was neither afraid And fear was not a factor in how he viewed success for his family. Take a look at that list that I had you write down of the areas where fear is impacting your life right now. Choose one of those areas that you would like to receive a breakthrough in today and circle it or highlight it. Now, my grandfather was a huge fan of Marcus Garvey, and as a committed race man, he would not allow his daughters to work in white people's houses, and he didn't allow his grandchildren to play with white children. And he took great pride and great pleasure in resisting the racial customs of the day. And it was through him that my brother and I were instilled with a sense of Black pride at an early age. I have learned over the years that when one's mind is made up, this diminishes fear. Knowing what must be done does away with fear. The first thing to having success and diminishing fear, repelling fear in your life is to free your mind. My mother taught us about Booker T. Washington and George Washington Carver. After World War II, when the Black soldiers returned home, they resisted the treatment of whites, and that summer became known as Red Summer. Klan violence increased tremendously. Many of the returning Black soldiers were killed. The whites wanted them to know that nothing had changed. The soldiers were especially harassed when they walked around in their military uniform. Now, my grandfather wanted to be a part of the movement to effect change. So he tried to join the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP. But they rejected him because he was too light-skinned. Remember, I told you he could pass for white. Now, because my mother was a school teacher, I can't remember when I couldn't read. It made me a lifelong learning. Before I started going to school in the one-room shack that they called a school for the colored children in town, I already knew my ABCs and figures or math. Now, the school year for colored children was only 6 months, while the white children went to school for 9 months. And the colored children could be pulled out of school anytime to work in the fields whenever they were needed. One year, a brand new school was built for the white children. It was paid for with the tax money that had also come from hard-working colored families. Now, because I was my grandfather's daughter, I had a feisty streak, and I didn't let anyone push us around. As a matter of fact, one day while walking home from school, my brother and I were minding our own business when a white boy named Franklin began to harass my brother. I told him, "You better leave us alone." His name was Franklin. He just kept on. So you know what I did? I picked up me a brick. Now, he didn't want to call me on my bluff. So he left us alone. When I told my mother and grandmother what happened, now I was pretty proud of myself, but they were frightened for me. They expected his family to come and retaliate. They warned me not to do anything like that ever again. Well, I learned not to tell them if I did. Now, colored children could only go to school to the 6th grade in Pine Level. But my mother was determined that I would get my education. When I was 11 years old, my mother sent me to Miss White's Industrial School for Girls in Montgomery, Alabama. And that's where I would meet a lifelong friend, Rebecca Carr, who was instrumental in my joining the NAACP later in my life. Now, Miss White and the teachers were Quakers, and they suffered quite a bit of harassment. The school even was burned down. They rebuilt it, but later it was burned down again, and they didn't have the money to rebuild. Whites hated them for educating coloreds. But unfortunately for me, I had to drop out of school in the 11th grade because my grandmother became sick, and I had to help take care of her. In 1931, I met a man by the name of Raymond Parks. He was a barber and an active member of the NAACP. I always just called him Parks. When I met him, he was working to raise money for legal fees to help the Scottsboro boys. Now, this was a group of 9 colored boys who, along with several white boys, were caught train hopping, illegally riding the train. Now, the white boys got away, but the colored boys were arrested. And when it was discovered that there were 2 white women on the train who also were train hopping, the women were pressured into accusing the boys of raping them. Now, the train hopping was a minor offense, but raping 2 white women, capital offense. The boys were tried, convicted, and sentenced to death. The youngest boy in the group was only 13 years old. He was sentenced to life in prison. Now, Parks became very frustrated because the local NAACP, he felt like they weren't doing enough. He felt like they were dragging their feet. And it wasn't until the American Communist Party took up the case that the NAACP stepped in. Now, initially, when I met Parks, I wouldn't give him the time of day. He was just too light, but he was persistent, and I let him catch me. After we got married, he encouraged me to go back to school and get my high school diploma, and I did. After the Scottsboro Boys incident, Parks stopped participating in the NAACP. But me, I wanted to be a part. And I went to a meeting one night. Just so happened it was the night they were having their elections. And because I was the only woman there at the time, my friend who had introduced me, my lifelong friend, she had another engagement and wasn't there. So they voted me in to become secretary. Now, I took my duties seriously. Because my grandfather had instilled in me racial pride, I felt that working for the NAACP was my way of making things better for my community. Now, Parks worked as a barber, and I had several jobs, but then I worked for the Montgomery Fair department store. My time at Miss White's school gave me many skills, some of which I could use for gainful employment, but as a colored woman, there weren't many opportunities. So I worked in the tailor department as a seamstress, but by 1955, I had worked my way up to assistant tailor. Now, living in Montgomery, most people use the bus system to ride around. Parks and I did the same. So let me tell you about riding the bus in Montgomery, Alabama. So picture this. In order to get on the bus, we would get on at the front and pay our fare. Then we would have to get back off the bus, especially if the bus had 2 doors. Then we'd have to walk to the back of the bus to then get back on the bus. Now, does that make sense to you? Some of those bus drivers were so mean and hateful that when we got off to go to the back and get back on, they would ride off and leave us, laughing as they went. And then sometimes when we got to the back, the bus was too full, people hanging on and standing up, and we couldn't get on. So even though we had paid our fare, we had to wait for the next bus. One day, I got on the bus and paid my fare, and the bus driver was mean and hateful. He wanted me to get off and go to the back, but I wouldn't do it. I said, why do I have to get off? The seat is right there. Now, the buses were segregated. There was a white section and the colored section. Now, if the white section got full, the first 2 rows of the colored section had to get up and give up their seats to white passengers. Well, on this day, I just didn't want to get off and go to the back. So he said, you're going to get off my bus. I dropped my purse on purpose. And in order to pick it up, I purposely sat down in the white section. Oh, that bus driver was so mad with me. So when I got off the bus to go to the back, he drove off and left me. And that day happened to be a rainy day. I made up in my mind I was never going to ride that bus driver's bus again. But on December 1st, 1955, I got on the bus, and then I sat down in the first seat in the first row of the colored section. I was minding my own business, but pretty soon the white section got full. Then I noticed that there was a white man standing up over me. I looked at him. He looked down at me. I turned and looked out the window. The bus driver called out, "Hey, I need that seat." I said to myself, I need it too. He said, "If you don't give up that seat, I would not budge." He said, "If you don't give up that seat, I'm going to call the police." I said, "You may do that." And he did. But while we were waiting, there were people behind me saying, "Why won't she just get on up and get off the bus? She's going to make things worse for the rest of us. And who does she think she is?" They say we were working together. And we did have to work together for the civil rights movement. But on that day, I didn't feel no love. I felt like I was alone. But word got out that I had been arrested. And the second thing you must do if you want to get over fear is that you need to make a plan. And so while I went to jail, the people got busy. They decided, because I had been arrested. Now, there were those who had made a stand by sitting down as well before me. But because I had been busy in the community, they said, "You done messed with the wrong one now." So they put together a plan, and a bus boycott was arranged. And it was led by a new preacher in town. They say if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. You need to decide what it will take for you to have success. You must decide what it will take to get over fear. Make a plan and get to work. A plan was created, and on the following Monday, after my arrest, there was going to be a bus boycott. The word got out, a plan was made, and they boycotted the buses. Now, on that Monday, I couldn't participate. I was in court, and I was convicted. But we decided we would take my case all the way to the Supreme Court. So as the plan was made, we decided that we must work together continuously. That bus boycott, it didn't last just the one day. It didn't last just 2 days. We all pulled together And there were white folks, black folks, colored folks working together as a team. They formed taxis so that people could have a ride to get to. So people either rode the taxis formulated by the community, or they walked, but they refused to ride the buses. What we did was hit the bus company right where it hurts, in their pocketbooks, because that was our mode of transportation. That was our way of getting around. And we decided no longer were we going to be subjected to being at the back of the bus. So, what does it take? Not only does it take teamwork, you have to be willing to work together, because if one person falls down, there's nobody there to pick them up. But when we work together as a team and one person falls down, there's somebody else to help them move. Why was December 1st, 1955 chosen? Some people say that the NAACP put me up to it. Why was that the day that I made a stand by sitting down? All I know is that was the day that I got sick and tired. I refused to continue to be treated like a second-class citizen. So, the fourth thing that you need when it comes to overcoming fear, to repelling fear, don't ever stop. If you want to be free from fear, keep moving forward. Keep doing the things that you need to do to overcome fear. And I want you to ask yourself this question: what would I do if I didn't have fear? Where would I go? What would I say? What would I do? Fear will have you on the sidelines of life. But if you free your mind, take a look at that area that you highlighted right now, the one that you said you wanted breakthrough for today. Take a look at that. And I want you to map out, what would you do if you didn't have fear? What would you do to do that thing if you did not have fear? What step would you take? And then make a plan, map out what you can do today to begin that journey. What if your fear is of speaking before a lot of people? What can you do today to begin to overcome that fear? You can sign up for Toastmasters. You can ask your family and friends to be your audience as you begin this journey. See, if you tell them what you're doing, they will become part of your teamwork that makes the dream work. You don't have to do it all alone. I want you to decide, I want you to write down what you want to happen in your life, personally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. And whatever area, add to your list as you see fit. Then you work with a team who can partner with you through the process. And here's what I want you to do. I can help you. I want you to go to easytree.me/Betty Jewell. EZTREE.me/Betty, BETTY, Jewell, JEWELL. You can schedule a free discovery session with me. We'll see what we can do. And don't ever give up. They say it takes about 10 to 15 years to become an overnight success. So never stop moving towards your goal. Never stop moving towards becoming free from fear. You're only a failure when you stop trying. It took Thomas Edison 100 times to finally get the light bulb invention to work. He says he never failed. He just learned 99 ways it wouldn't work. Don't give up on your dreams by allowing fear to stop you in your tracks. Fear does have a voice, but you tell it to shut up. Ask yourself again. Write it in the chat. What would I do if I didn't have fear? Where would I go? What would I say? Who would I help? What difference would I make in the world? How is it that you overcome fear? How is it that you repel fear so that you can reach success with your life goals? Number one, you clear your mind, you free your mind. Number two, you make a plan. Number three, you get yourself a team. And number four, don't ever give up. Never stop moving towards your dreams. My name is Rosa Parks. It's been my pleasure to meet you today.
Metamorphosis of one woman's life's journey through interlocking stories of incest, drug addiction, and domestic violence. It was creatively written to correlate with the developmental stages of the butterfly through the maturation of Alexander Scott, who is my character in the book. It is funny, it's triumphant, and it's also faith-based. And it ultimately speaks about our inner ability, no matter what we go through, to prevail through God's undeniable grace. My vision for my experiences are that they not just be read in a book, but that they're seen on the big screen in living color, and not just for the sake of being made into a movie, but to inspire confidence in someone else, to not allow fear, shame.
That's right. In order to grow your net worth, you need to grow your self-worth. I'm Cindy Shaw, the Aware Millionaire, and I'm also the creator of the Money Master series. I interviewed 22 top experts from around the world who share a wealth of knowledge around money mindset and rich tips for managing your finances. And for our SuccessFest audience, I'm offering a special price of only $47. And for that, you get lifetime access to all 22 video interviews. They're only 20 to 30 minutes long, so you can watch them on your own time. Or
that you've joined me. So I'm going to share my screen because I have a lot of slides that I want to share with you. If you stay with me through this workshop, you are going to leave empowered, ready to get in the driver's seat of your health and truly live the life that you deserve. So put on your seatbelt and let's get ready to go. Well, the title of this workshop, Success, Health, and Great Wealth, the life you deserve. Believe me when I say health is wealth. Without it, nothing else matters. So here are the objectives. So we're going to go through these, and I'm going to tell you right now that is so much to unpack. It is almost impossible for us to get done in one session, right? So you're going to get opportunities to join me in further workshops and deep dives and personal health assessments and all this other stuff I'm going to talk about later. But what I really want to focus on is bringing alignment into your spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical health. We're going to explain why we are where we are, of course. There are some tests, so don't get scared. Really easy, I think, but it's going to teach you a lot. And then learn what we can actually do about it to get, again, in the driver's seat of our health. And I'm going to provide you with some practical, applicable tools, and then I'm going to give you a challenge. So my first question to you is, how are you taking care of you? This is just a simple, basic steps right here. Okay, and we're going to talk about 7 steps that I promised in the talk that you decided to join me here from. And it was about, how are you eating real food, exercising, drinking water? How much have you drank, right? Sleeping. How many of you really slept 7 to 8 hours just last night? Think about that. Do you believe that 75% of all chronic disease is truly preventable? And I love Dr. Bill Sears. He's the pediatric doctor of America, world renowned. I know him personally, and he knows that food is medicine and that we can take control of our health once we get the knowledge, education, getting a great community of people, and have fun doing so. So here's my story. You heard it a little bit from the talk, and I'm going to tell it to you again here for those who might have missed that talk. But this really is the true story of an officer and a gentleman. And I am the CEO and founder of Premier Health and Wellness Consulting. And this company was birthed because of this story. I was in the Army, as you can tell. That was my women's, month, parachute jumping out of really perfectly good airplanes, running 4 or 5 miles a day, thought I was Bionic Woman. And again, for my younger people, that's Wonder Woman. And it was chronic fatigue that set in. I could not shake it, back and forth to the doctors running tests, and they couldn't figure it out what was wrong. So fast forward my story. I had some amazing neighbors who loved on us, educated us about the power of whole food, plant-based nutrition. So when they came back with the diagnosis, after half my face went numb, half my taste sensories disappeared, and I couldn't lift anything with the right hand, they had to believe me something was wrong. And those tests proved an autoimmune disease. Well, that was pretty much life-altering, career-ending. And I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I will tell you that Plan ABC was the military. I had a very successful career, but God always has other plans. And I will tell you, trust the journey, trust the journey. And what my neighbor shared with us that day about the power of whole food, plant-based nutrition made sense to us. We knew our bodies needed more nutrition to fight what was going on. My husband was also diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and we just didn't know any better, just thinking disease, disability doctors would be our rite of passage. But that is not the end of the story. 16 years later, medicine-free, both of us, in control of our health. I like to brag, fabulous 50, feeling good, looking good, making money, and having fun. And I want that for you. Okay. So I am a corporate health counselor, and basically counselors are trained to come alongside you and help you with your personal, social, and psychological performance. Okay. Corporate counseling is really that professional relationship that's going to empower not just the individual, but then the corporation as a whole through that education and career goals, planning, and that holistic approach to health. And so the 2 major focuses that come up all the time is, of course, your belief system and nutrition, which are critical to optimal, premier outcomes. I know a lot of people might still believe counseling is taboo, and it is so not. So really, I want you to dive deeper into finding the right counselor for you. And if you don't like that person, that's okay. Find someone who's going to resonate with you so that you can get through some of the issues or blocks that might be impeding your progress to get further along on this path of success. So this is just a few benefits of counseling, as you can see. Again, we come alongside you to help you reach your goals and truly to live the life that you deserve. So I want you to have a paradigm shift here, okay? And I love Dr. Pam Popper, Wellness Form Health out of Ohio. And I love reading this slide. I know they say don't read slides, but you have to hear it and see it because it is so powerful. She says, we believe that it is a fundamental right of all consumers to have a complete analysis of the risk and benefits of any test, drug, supplement, procedure, or medical practice of any type before making a decision to proceed. This is currently not the way medicine is practiced, and we are truly on a mission to change that. And I hope you're going to join that mission with us. So, why are we so unhealthy? Here is how we got to where we are today. Do you understand that 1 in 4 people will die of heart disease? 1 in 2 women and 1 in 3 men will develop cancer. 1 in 3 will have diabetes by 2050. That's not really that long away from here. And 1 in 5 children is obese. Dr. Katz from Yale University is saying that our children are more harmed by a poor diet than alcohol, drugs, tobacco combined. And that should be alarming. You heard some of that from my talk if you were able to listen to that talk. We know that environmental toxins are increasing and that some of that stuff we can't even control. The over-the-counter drugs that we're taking is damaging our bodies. The skin and hair care products that we use are sometimes detrimental. The water contamination from all of the pollutants in the air, the chemicals running through the water systems, it's a lot, okay? It's a lot. And then our food quality is decreasing. More than 50% of what we as Americans eat is processed. And that really is not a good health outcome. If you understand how the shipping process goes to get our fruits and vegetables to us, broccoli could lose up to 50 to 80% of the key nutrients before it's even purchased by you. So there's hormones, pesticides, herbicides. The food is just definitely less nutritional. Artificial colors, trans fat, all those things which are totally degrading our quality of health and life. So here's just 2 definitions I really want to touch on, and I'm not going to go into detail with this. We can go into detail in further workshops with these major issues. Right now, of course, the world has changed on how we're going to work and how we conduct ourselves at work, right? So absenteeism, of course, everybody understands that that is calling in to work sick because either you're sick, a child sick, somebody, a family member sick, neighbors sick, or somebody that you have taken care of, right? Or yourself. But presenteeism is the one that most people are now more aware of course, but that is employees who come to work sick. Yeah, so they're still operating at a degraded quality of performance at work, but it's very likely that they are contagious and spreading those germs to the others in the office. Now, of course, we're teleworking a lot now, so that has shifted things, but this does not change the same thing at home, whether you're at home, not feeling well, working at a reduced productivity, or you just decide you're not going to work that day. So what can we do to be healthier? Okay, these are the basics. You really should know these, right? And most of us really do. But the question then is, are we actually implementing it? So we hear these things. So we hear it in the Bible a lot. Be hearers, be doers, and not hearers of the word, right? So we know we're supposed to exercise, get that rest, and rest has really moved up my priority list because now they're linking that to lack of rest, Alzheimer's, dementia. That's really serious. Managing our stress. And I did not believe this before, but do you know stress can really kill? It literally chemically alters our body to stop receptors from doing what they're supposed to do to keep us alive. That's really serious. Water, we'll talk about that. My magical mystical drug. You'll hear me say that again. Absolutely trying to use safer products as best as you can, clean, go green, and then absolutely eating real food. So here's the current healthcare system and where we are in this pendulum. And again, this workshop is for you to get the baseline of the education so that, again, you can get in the driver's seat of your health and then start being informed to make the decisions that's going to best suit you. We all have come upon most of these on this list. And I will be honest with you. Both patients and practitioners are frustrated and very unhappy. I had no idea what this healthcare system was like until this last year, uncovering so much. I think my next calling is going to be patient advocacy, seriously. Oh my goodness. But it's just a very difficult system to traverse, especially if you don't have the right resources. And, you know, addressing these issues. So the question becomes, what do we do? Well, please be mindful to get objective information. Stop following the hypes, okay? Stop chasing all the get rich quick, the get skinny quick, the get healthy quick. It does not work. Have a clear understanding of all the risks and benefits of anything that you choose to do. The one example, the best example I could use is the diets. You know, you really should, it's incumbent upon you to take a deeper dive to understand the risk benefits involved in a lot of those diets. I don't believe in diets. And then stay in a driver's seat to have the freedom to choose the best option that's going to make sure that you have a healthy, long life, and that it's a collaborative approach between you and your practitioners. So Dr. Popper, again, I'm quoting her about informed consent, that taking control of your health is not doing what I say or what she says, right? Instead of what others are saying. It's doing what you think is best for you after you've reviewed the objective information. And again, it's so mindful that you take some time to do the research. And I've done a lot of that for you. So go to your trusted sources that are not following the hype. Okay, so here's the test. I love this part of the workshop, right? Because this is mind-blowing for a lot of people all the time. So I'm going to ask you a few questions and I'm going to ask you true or false. And I just want you to answer true, false, and maybe you say, I don't know. First question, eating olive oil promotes better health. Is that true or false? Well, if you said false, you're correct. Oil is concentrated fat, okay, and a lot of calories. Can you imagine 1 tablespoon contains 130 calories and 14 grams of fat? That is a lot to sit down and eat. And most people are not just doing 1 tablespoon. Did you know that oil contributes to weight gain, the development of arteriosclerotic plaque, and coronary artery disease? This is very serious. Question 2. PSA testing and mammograms reduce your risk of dying of prostate and breast cancer. Is that true or false? If you answered false, you're correct. There's a Cochrane review that showed to save 1 life, 2,000 women would have to be screened for 10 years. 10 women would endure unnecessarily and potentially life-threatening overdiagnosis and overtreatment. They concluded, and I quote, there's no reliable evidence from large randomized trials to support screening mammography at any age. Again, we go deeper in further workshops so that you really can get the resources and tools you need to empower yourself. So we actually met Dr. Richard Ablin. He, according to researchers, and he's the guy who discovered the prostate-specific antigen, the PSA, that men test for prostate cancer. Then he says that there's a false positive rate of 78%, that the Gleason score is meaningless, and most men who are treated for prostate cancer do not even have it. So you could have a Gleason score of 2 and might have cancer, 200 might not have cancer. Get that book, The Great Prostate Hoax. It is such a powerful resource and tool for you to just get in the driver's seat, educate yourself, to be able to ask your practitioners the right questions. The U.S. Preventative Service Task Force recommends against PSA screening for men of all ages. So you should be asking yourself the question, what is that about? So next question, losing bone mineral density is a normal sign of aging. Is that true or false? If you answered true, you're correct. All humans lose bone mineral density as they age. Yes, we do. God in his infinite wisdom gave us everything we needed at birth. We either mess that up and slow it down, or we age gracefully. Women have a very high peak bone density to support pregnancy and breastfeeding, of course. And then, of course, they lose bone mineral density more rapidly than men in their later ages. Next question. Is it a good idea to have your vitamin D levels tested every year because vitamin D levels cause disease? Is that true or false? If you answered false, you are correct. Normal vitamin D levels are anywhere between, and I would say really anything over 30 now is healthy, okay? And you don't really need to be panicking over that. Ideally, we want you to go outside in the sun and get the natural vitamin D. In the summer, that's the best time to get it in most places, because God in his infinite wisdom knew that in those winter months or those gray days where we couldn't get the sun, if we stored enough, because it is storable, fat soluble storable in our bodies, to sustain us through that season. Isn't it amazing how that works? So understand that low vitamin D levels do not cause disease, okay? It's just they're a result of disease. That's what happens. You have a disease and maybe your vitamin D is going low. So get to the core of the issue. And then vitamin D supplements, a lot of times, you're not even taking the right D2 or D3. Wait, which one are you supposed to take? We go deeper and deeper in workshops to really have you understand this. Next question, and I know these a lot, and hopefully I don't know where you are on the pendulum, if you get them all right or you got them all wrong. Hopefully you're getting some right. Bypass surgery does not reduce the risk of heart attack most of the time. True or false? That is actually true. So if you answered true, you're correct. About 500,000 bypass surgeries are performed in the US each year. It does not benefit most patients because coronary artery disease is systemic, and the procedure does not actually address the problem. I mean, so we go open up the arteries and you clog them back up because you continue to eat the fatty artery clogging foods that cause you to have the coronary artery disease. So keep doing that, then you can just be grateful you're still alive if you've already had one. But studies show that bypass patients do not fare better than patients who just take the drug. So if you were given that opportunity, and hopefully you were, and there's more than just those two, surgery or drugs, right? Lifestyle change is the third that we really need to be focusing on. All right, next question. Taking a daily aspirin can reduce your risk of heart attack or stroke. True or false? I know what we've been told. And I'm thinking you probably know this answer now that you've been through all these questions. The answer is false. So if you answered false, you're correct. Patients with risk factors, including high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol, absolutely do not benefit from taking a low dose of daily aspirin for the primary prevention of cardiovascular events, okay? Taking aspirin actually can increase the risk of major bleeding events. And that's really not what you want to do long term. And I'll tell you, all these drugs have long-term lasting effects. Keep that in mind, please. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and misinformation is the best way to keep people in fear and keep people misinformed, really. So we're just bombarded every day with misinformation about diet and health, often due to financial conflicts of interest, which you should dive deeper into who's saying what and why are they saying it. But the government spews out stuff, health professionals and organizations, disease groups and media, food, drug, device makers, well-meaning but misinformed health professionals. Yes, happens all the time. So please be mindful of who you're listening to and what information you're passing on. I love Dr. David Barker. He says, and it's interesting perspective. While patients are grateful for new drugs and operations, what they really want is not to be patients at all. In this, we are failing them. So I love talking about dehydration. If you ever, called my cell phone, you'd hear my very long voice message, but it's a message to make you think, okay? And we talk about this dehydration, but look at what dehydration can actually cause. Believe it or not drinking enough water, constipation, headaches, food cravings, water retention. Not drinking enough water, you're going to retain water. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Flu-like symptoms, lack of energy, depression, weight gain, and there's so much more. But I love the healing power of water. And we're around a lot of beautiful water right now. But what does water do for us? Okay. It carries nutrients and oxygen to every cell in our body. It controls the temperature of our body, cleans our stomach, and it helps our digestion, cleans our intestines, improves absorption of the nutrients, removes toxins from our bodies, lubricates and cushions our joints, provides valuable electrolytes. I tell people all that extra, sports drinks that you want to drink, there's no need for that. Drink more water. Water has its own natural elements, calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, and chloride already in there. Now sugar, the nemesis. Look at that. It's white. It's a powder. Sounds like a drug. And it is. It's a legalized drug. Can you believe that each year a typical American is going to eat 756 donuts? I love this slide. 60 pounds of cake and cookies, 23 gallons of ice cream, 7 pounds of potato chips, 22 pounds of candy, 200 sticks of gum. I used to be very guilty on that one. 365 servings of soda. That's a soda a day. 90 pounds of fat and a 5-pound bag of sugar a week. And it's really easy to look at that. I have a very visual presentation. Usually when I go to schools or I'm doing events, that shows the packages of sugar that's like in a Coke bottle or a soda bottle or a juice bottle. And it's usually mind-blowing for parents. Oh, so you remember in the talk I told you I would tell you the age of the cheeseburger, fries, and donuts, all right? So believe it or not, yes, that cheeseburger and fries is actually 14 and a half years old. And the donuts, 8 years old. And again, I'm going to say the rats and roaches won't touch it. It won't grow mold or spores. So what do you think it's doing to your body? So you really are what you eat. You can look like that or you can look like that. The choice is up to you. So now let me ask this question. Did you learn anything new? I'm thinking and hoping that you have. And so then the question becomes, why doesn't everyone know about these issues? So let's do some practical application. Let's apply what we are learning today. So here are my 7 steps that I promised you, in no random order really, but I just want to go down, and I'm not going to get into detail because again, we really unpack a lot of these in further workshops. A real relationship with God is not about religion. The power of the mind, positive mental attitude, key and critical. Forgive is an entire workshop, okay? Because of course you've heard forgiveness is not for the person you're giving it to, it's actually for you. Meditation, I think that's becoming more popular in mainstream, and you understand the importance of quieting your mind. Deep breathing, again, another popular mainstream one coming up and so critical. Of course, I like the 4-6-8. And again, we go into details in other workshops about that breathing, but 4-6-8. Exercise and rest, critical. And then real nutrition and nature and gardening. Again, just putting these things into perspective is going to help you take control of your health and start living the life that you truly deserve. So what does that look like? One, you have to get your spiritual world in order. There's no way around that one. I don't care what you believe in, you have to get your spiritual world in order. Okay, spend more quality time with your family and friends. Hopefully last year really woke us up to that. You have to improve your self-confidence with positive self-talk. Be mindful of what you put out in the atmosphere, in the universe. The idiot box is what I call the television. How about you start reading more books, do puzzles, start exercising more, reading books. And then my dad, I love how he said this and taught us this at a younger age. If people don't add 3 things to your statue, you don't need them in your life. And of course, vice versa. You should be adding at least 3 positive things to people's lives as they come in and out of your life. And then we want you to drink, of course, more water, eat more fruits and vegetables, get outside and garden. I love this book. Write this book down, The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Powerful. It's on my dream board, actually. And here are his 4 agreements. Be impeccable with your word. Do not take anything personally. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best. You read this book, it's life transforming. Again, we go into details more in other workshops. And then exercise. So if I were to ask you, what's the best exercise? What would you tell me? The best exercise is, well, I'm going to probably tell you you're right, because the best exercise is going to be the one you will actually do. If I tell you that running or swimming is the best exercise, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't want to go mess up my beautiful hair all the time, although that water is gorgeous. But I would probably prefer to go walking. So we want you to do just that. Move your body. You don't use it, you're going to lose it. Believe that. But here are just 20 benefits of why exercise is so important. Do you understand that you can actually lower your blood pressure by just exercising? It actually reduces cancer risk. Who would have known? I think it really is amazing that in our society, people actually take better care of their cars and pets than they do themselves. You know, remember the analogy that I shared with you in the talk about, you know, using the car as the analogy of your body. The crazy thing is, people would actually really make sure their car is taken care of before they're actually taking care of their own human form. That's not what we should be doing. So I want you to get into that driver's seat on how not to be a patient, right? It's about being proactive and intentional rather than reactive and episodic. So what does that mean? Well, being reactive and episodic means you wait until you're sick. You remember the car analogy, you just keep chugging along until it totally breaks down or you can't get out of the bed. And you take drugs or you do patch up work to try to fix whatever's going on without getting to the core of the issue. And that's the cycle. You know, I get allergies every year, or I'm sick 2-3 times a year and that's normal, or whatever it is. Well, no, that's actually not normal. I don't want you to believe that. And then being proactive and intentional actually really is you make health your priority. You get in healthy communities that's going to foster a sense of accountability that we have in our groups that is going to help you stay on that path of health, that pendulum of success. Resolve the issues by going to the core, okay, of what the cause is and not trying to do treatment. We do prevention. And then we work together as a team to maintain really premier health. So I want you to practice informed decision-making. And what does it look like? Again, obtain and analyze unbiased information. Stop believing the hype. Again, my dad says, you know, believe half of what you see, none of what you hear, or none of what you hear, half of what you see. I don't know which way it is, whatever way it is. Just be very leery. In the Bible, they say these Bereans who do their work, they do their homework, they do their research before they start believing anything. Well, become like a Berean and start doing your own research, independent research that's not biased. And then have that, again, collaborative approach with your doctors. You inform your doctor of your choices. You're not being dictated to. And then you come to an agreement on what's going to best serve you. I'm going to go into some really quick, easy ways that I do life that I think, works. And I have a lot of great recipes that I would love to share with you. But making smoothies is an easy way to get nutrition into your body. There are so many different, reasons, and people say, oh, drinking your calories isn't great and all this other, it's convoluted. Y'all stop trying to really make this more difficult of a journey than it needs to be. Just keep it simple. And smoothies are a really simple, convenient, affordable way to get the nutrition into your body as opposed to starving yourself. And then we love salad in a jar parties. We love, love, love salad in a jar parties. They're amazing. We grow our own food. You're going to see that in a slide, but this is the way to how to do the healthy. In an amazing community of people, you get together, you all bring the toppings and you go around, stack these jars, meal prepping for the week. And it is phenomenal. We should be doing this around the world. We do healthy ice cream. Now, believe it or not, and I have actually updated that some of those, well, one of the ingredients. We use dates now instead of the cream, but yes, that actually makes some amazing healthy ice cream, guilt-free, and you feel good about it. And it tastes delicious, that I promise you. Our tower gardens growing aeroponically. I grow year round, inside and outside, and I'm in control of my food source. I love it. I grow, everything above ground, which is an amazing process. And, our tower gardens grow faster and they taste so much fresher. And it's amazing just watching God's creation unfold in front of you. And we really work with these tower gardens and school systems and everything, teaching the kids how to grow at an earlier age. So here's the quality of life issues. Everyone's going to die, but how you look and feel for your last 20 to 50 years depends on the lifestyle and the vitamin and minerals you take throughout your entire life. And those vitamin and minerals come from whole food, real food. So can you believe that these two women are the exact same age? Which life are you actually designing? So diet is completely under your control. You cannot always control the other determinants of your health, such as the air you breathe, the noise you hear, the emotions around you. Isn't it a shame to squander such a good opportunity? And I am a firm believer that the best example that you can give your children is the gift of good health. I will tell you that you set your child up for success in the classroom, on the sports and athletic fields, just in life in general. When they leave your home, they're making better choices. So here's what we do, Premier Health and Wellness Consulting, where we believe, again, everyone deserves to make an informed decision. We do all of these things, okay? Corporate coaching and training and counseling. I am a professional counselor by trade. We do seminars, workshops, and amazing retreats. There's educational plant-based meals that if you were local, we were doing those monthly, and those are amazing. You saw the sound of jar parties, meal prepping, teaching people how to do, what to do, healthy living parties, ice cream parties, tower garden parties. You're going to get access to a personal health assessment. There's a getting started class, pantry clean out, believe it or not, we do those. Shopping trips, and I love the Devoted Bodies Bible study. It's a very powerful, in-depth study talking about the cure of our temple. So I really do believe that this is the place where consumers and practitioners meet for collaborative, evidence-based discussion leading to informed decisions about diet, health, and medical care. So here's how you get started. I want you to text Success Fest 21 to 757-538-7288. Okay, again, text Success Fest 21 to 757-538-7288, and that's going to give you your next steps of what you need to do. I would love for you to schedule a 20-minute consultation with me to see where you're at and how we can actually help you. And then you're going to join the Live You Deserve Accountability Facebook group. And I'm going to challenge you to start today. It's never too late to become what you want to do in life. And here's what to expect. Of course, it's an amazing, non-evasive, but evasive personal health assessment. It's going to really reframe your brain. You're going to get a one-on-one jumpstart discovery session with me, access to the accountability group, a 4-week accountability game, which is very powerful. Oh my goodness, so much success comes out of that. We have an educational video library with so much resources and knowledge, and then also workbooks. So in ending, I want to tell you, I love the principles in the Bible. I do. I wish above all things that you prosper, be in health, even as your soul prosper. That's what God said. I say God is love. I say love God, love others. And life is going to start you in the driver's seat of your health to live the life that you deserve. So again, we truly do believe you deserve to make an informed decision. I'm Beverly Grandison, Premier Health and Wellness Consulting. Check us out online, and our website's there, premierhealthwellness.com. And again, thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to taking a deeper dive with you in our follow-on workshops and sessions, and looking forward to even that amazing retreat that you're going to just enjoy beyond measure. So contact me, and thank you again for joining. So here I am, and if you stayed with me the whole time, kudos, and hopefully you learned so much that you're ready to get started on this journey to live the life that you deserve. And trust me, it is very possible. So thank you again. Have a good day.
To share with others. That's important because your story is not just for you. So I am making a call to action that, first of all, you were made for whatever moment that you're in. So join our Made for the Moment challenge and our Facebook group. And then second, if you are an author, a coach, a minister, a consultant, an everyday person with an extraordinary story, I want you to join our Made for TV challenge.